When we started out with Federation, and for many years I gave much more than I could afford, I always still felt that it came back in spades. When you do good things, you don't do them for what's in it for you. I mean, it's coming out of your pocket. And it's a wonderful feeling to be able to do it, and it comes back in spades. I think this was proven to me later when we started with the tennis centers. And goodness gracious, for 15 or 20 years, I was in perhaps 20, 25 cities a summer, and I met the nicest Jews, the greatest people all over the United States and Canada. I mean, some of the biggest names in Jewish philanthropy and that everybody knows, names that are common to all of us, the Bellsbergs, the Pritzkers, people like this all over the world, I became friendly with. They were friends of mine. So it just came back in spades. When you do good things, it comes back in spades. Jumpstart America. When my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren and their children see this movie, which I hope they do, this is a Chevrolet. This is a Chevrolet. It's a car made in America by Americans. And it's part of Jumpstart America. In 1992, I was on an airplane coming home from Florida, and I read the newspaper, and the newspaper said that President Bush was in Japan trying to get the Japanese to buy 20,000 cars that were American-made, begging them to buy. When I got home that evening, I turned on the television. There was a map, or there was a picture of Tokyo, and Tokyo was so crowded with cars, I didn't know where they'd put two more cars, let alone 20,000. And I thought, holy cats, how many cars could we sell just in northeastern Ohio? I thought, we might be able to sell more cars right here in northeastern Ohio than the $20,000 we're begging the Japanese to buy from us. So the next morning I went to the office. I made out a memo to my employees and said, if you'll buy a car made in America, I'll give you $400. If you'll buy a car made in Warren, I'll pay the first $800. If you'll buy a used car, I'll pay you $200. And if you have a car that has no catalytic converter and is really old and is contaminating the environment, I'll give you $200 to junk it. I called a few of my friends and asked them would they do the same, and they said yes. So I called the Warren Tribune the next day to put an ad in the Tribune and ask other people to do the same. They said, wow, what a story this would be. And they wrote a story that was picked up by the Associated Press. By the next day, we started to get phone calls from all over the place. Well, I never dreamed it would happen, but within a week, I had to call David and ask him to come home to market the thing. Stephen ran the finances. Sandra, who had just gone to Florida, where we were going to go back and forth during the winter, came home, and we opened an office. And within 2 weeks, marquees began to appear all over the area in northeastern Ohio, Jumpstart America, because I called it Jumpstart America. There were red, white, and blue banners around all the trees and the telephone poles and so forth. We took over an office across the street. There were, within a couple or 3 weeks, there were 30 or 40 people working in the office, people from the unions, from the banks, from the businesses, the retired people, working on fax machines, working on emails, and we were all working. We were working as a family, and we were starting to sell cars. That month of February, the local sales increased by something like 35% in the first month, and it was a terrible weather month. And we had determined as we went along to end this because by the 4th of July, it was a presidential year, and we knew we wouldn't get much publicity after the 4th of July. All the major networks came to town, NBC, CBS, ABC. We went to New York and did a show there. David went to New York, was on CNN there. And even the Japanese television came to town. And we saw where we had the American televisions televising the Japanese televising us. The whole theme was not to bash the Japanese or say, buy American. It was simply to say that if you're in the market for a car, think of buying a car made in America by Americans. It was eminently successful. Looking back, that was one of the, just another thing that happened to me almost by accident. I happened to be in an airplane, I happened to turn on the television, but you know, sometimes one person can make a difference. This certainly made a difference. The American share of the market increased for the first time in 30 years, and that increase held for many, many years afterwards. It did actually make a difference.
As far as Dr. Lippi being a philanthropist, if a patient couldn't afford to pay, we did everything we could to find a way for them to pay and going to different organizations or something. And if they really couldn't, he's done his share of surgeries for free. He's called the hospital and said, you know, I'm going to do this patient for nothing. Well, would you not charge him? I don't think, he really doesn't blow his horn when it comes to those efforts on his part. And of course then the tennis center, he was highly involved, Jumpstart America, all the things that we know that he had a great interest in.
I do not look at, wow, look what I've done in medicine. Wow, look at the wonderful family I have. Wow, look what we did in Federation. Wow, look at what Sandra and I have done together. I always have the thought when I go to bed at night, you know, what is there to be done tomorrow?